Trail running in the Canadian Rockies. Adam Mertens' epic journey. A trail runner redefines boundaries in the Canadian Rockies. Imagine standing high above the Bow Valley, where the majestic Rocky Mountains of Canada stretch out before you. Trail runner Adam Mertens, at the age of 32, gazes down at his home nestled below. The allure of a cozy couch and a warm meal is tantalizingly close. Yet in stark contrast to the renowned trail-running hub of Chamonix in the French Alps, the Bow Valley lacks convenient gondola access to the mountains. "You really have to earn your way up here," Mertens remarks. "Even for sport climbing, you're looking at an 800-meter trek just to reach the crags." The national and provincial parks surrounding Canmore and Banff add layers of complexity to organizing trail races. Nevertheless, the mountain running community is gradually expanding. A new wave of Canadian trail runners is enthusiastically tackling significant mountain link-ups in the Bow Valley, where a vast expanse of jagged limestone peaks rises dramatically above the tree line, reaching heights of over 3,000 meters. Adam Mertens is at the forefront of this movement, achieving impressive times on highly technical routes by leveraging his extensive outdoor experience in climbing, scrambling, skiing, and running. One of the first major link-ups where Mertens showcased his skills is the traverse of the 11 peaks of Mount Rundle, known as the Rundle Traverse. This impressive chain of peaks towers over the picturesque town of Banff. Mertens first attempted this route in 2017 and has since completed it 10 times, most recently setting a new fastest known time, FKT. The breathtaking view of Mount Rundle, located just outside Banff, marks the western end of the Rundle Traverse. Typically, linking the peaks of Rundle requires 2 days of mountaineering. When Mertens first set out on this route, he discovered a lack of information available, particularly for those adventurous enough to run certain sections. The nearly 25-kilometer traverse involves approximately 2,500 meters of elevation gain and includes Class 4-5 scrambling, with some sections requiring rappelling. This demands climbing skills that go beyond what is typically expected in trail running. "None of it is overly difficult from a technical standpoint," Mertens shared with Explorer's Web. "It occupies that ambiguous space between trail running, scrambling, and climbing." He elaborates, "You might find yourself on terrain that could be rated as 5'9", with significant exposure beneath you. Coupled with the fact that the limestone in the Rockies is notoriously loose, often referred to by locals as the Rottenes, it becomes evident that trail runners must remain vigilant. The truth is, it's still an alpine climb, Mertens emphasizes. The real challenge arises when someone with a background in trail running but lacking climbing experience encounters this type of terrain. Mertens believes that effectively managing fatigue is crucial for safety on the route. It's a no-fall scrambling situation. You have to match your pace and effort to the terrain to ensure you return home safely at the end of the day. Earlier this month, on July 5th, Mertens harnessed all his experience to complete the Rundle Traverse in an astonishing 4 hours and 49 minutes, setting a new FKT. He carried no rope and minimal food and water, relying on snow patches for hydration. He timed his traverse to ensure he completed it in daylight, an easier feat during the long summer days at 51 degrees north latitude. Reflecting on the terrain he covered, Mertens noted, "My familiarity with the route allowed me to choose the most efficient paths and avoid more technical sections. As the route has evolved and times have improved, people have discovered different strategies to bypass the rappels and navigate the crocs more effectively. Most individuals who require assistance on the route tend to struggle at the crocs between the final 2 peaks on the western edge of the ridge. This section is undoubtedly the most technically demanding part of the route. However, it's also the moment in the day when you've been moving for 10, 15, or even 20 hours, making it feel significantly more serious. The crux of the Rundle Traverse involves transitioning from the central peak, a popular scrambling destination, to the far left peak. Although crossing the gap between them may appear straightforward, many scramblers unfamiliar with the challenge have found themselves in precarious situations here. Since Mertens began tackling the Traverse in 2017, the route has become more established, with more paths being forged, and at least one group typically on the ridge during summer weekends. Mertens, who works as a hiking guide and outdoor educator, has aspirations that extend beyond the Rundle Traverse. During the COVID lockdowns, he turned his focus to the mountains right outside his door. In 2020 alone, a remarkable 23 new FKTs were recorded on various routes in the Bow Valley. With several iconic loops already envisioned in recent decades, Mertens set out to merge several of them into a single monumental link-up he named the Bow Tie. The Bow Tie combines three of the most classic big runs, including the Rundle Traverse, the Canmore Quad Traverse, and the Banff Triple Crown, Mertens explains. In the early hours of June 30th, 2023, Mertens embarked on what would become one of the most ambitious mountain lake-ups in the Bow Valley. He began with the Canmore Quad, which includes the four peaks of Grotto, Lady MacDonald, Ha Ling, and the east end of Rundle, then seamlessly transitioned into the full Rundle Traverse, and concluded with the Banff Triple Crown, which encompasses the three peaks of west end of Rundle, Sulphur, and Cascade. The 115-kilometer circuit took Mertens an impressive 32 hours to complete, with a staggering elevation gain of 9,500 meters. He crossed the finish line of the Bow Tie around noon on July 1st. This marked Mertens' first experience running for such an extended duration. It was my first time covering over 100 kilometers, so navigating the challenges of fatigue and knowing when it was appropriate to take a 10-minute nap was definitely a significant learning experience for me. One of Mertens' most ambitious endeavors to date is the Bow Valley Cirque, a self-powered, high-alpine continuous loop of 127 kilometers around the Canmore-Banff corridor, adhering closely to the ridgelines and summiting peaks via technical routes. No one had ever attempted this before. Despite the daunting 11,100 meters of elevation gain, Mertens took on the route in August 2024, pushing himself as far as he could in just over 64 hours, with only 6 hours of sleep. Throughout this attempt, Mertens was supported by a team of around 10 individuals who assisted with crucial aspects such as nutrition, rest, and technical challenges, while also minimizing the amount of gear he needed to carry. Others contributed behind the scenes by scouting sections of the route in advance to assess their viability. A lot of effort went into planning the various sections. Even with all the information we had, there was a significant gap where no trip reports existed from anyone who had attempted it before, Mertens recalls. The multi-talented athlete divided the route into 6 distinct and demanding segments to allow for rest periods away from the alpine environment. After each segment, you return to town, and the temptation to think that was good enough definitely becomes more pronounced. You can see your house the entire time, which adds another layer of challenge, especially when you're deep into the technical terrain, Mertens explains. The last unfinished section of the cirque continues to weigh on Mertens' mind, and he plans to return to complete it. We're going back this year to finish what we started. There's still a piece that needs to be completed. For now, however, Mertens seems content to fully embrace everything the mountains of the Bow Valley and the broader Rockies have to offer. There's still so much to explore right here in the Bow Valley and throughout the Rockies, he expresses. I genuinely believe it's one of the most stunning places on the planet.